I'll share a quick story with you. I know you'll relate to this one. So our BNI chapter, the 111 chapter here on the West Rand of Johannesburg, our president is a man by the name of Terence Lee. And I couldn't understand why when he done 2 terms when I just joined the chapter 5 years ago. He's now doing another term now. And whenever he's in the hot seat, our chapter seems to grow. But Emma, he is the goofiest guy. Like he falls over his words, he makes jokes, he laughs, sometimes he loses. And I thought to myself, why is everybody in this, the visitors that come and visit our group, why are they so drawn? Or why are they quick to sign up to become members when he's in a hot seat? And what I realized, a lot of those visitors who are coming in, they're looking at this group of 25 entrepreneurs, business owners, and they're thinking, this is a professional setup because, BNI is very structured. But here you've got this president, he's running the meeting, and he's imperfect, he's vulnerable, he's falling over his work. And the visitor's probably sitting there thinking, if he can be the president, then I think I could fit in here as well. So I think vulnerability or being real, it's really something that connects with people.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Granville has also said, absolutely, we fail our way forwards to success. So for people who are kind of, we've mentioned a few things that we can do. For me, smiling is an easy one for me. That seems to be something that I remember because obviously, we do get bogged down in life. And then equally, restaurants, kind of those kind of interactions. And then I do have a kind of a backup now. If I'm feeling like you mentioned that I'm slightly losing control, I do tend to start thinking, come on, do we really need to behave like this? Is there a better way that I can be now where it actually everyone comes out feeling better about this? So I know you have a sort of a list, don't you, of things that we can do.
So over the past while, I've got a list of 9 ways. I haven't gotten this from anywhere. This is just a list that I've compiled on ways that you can leave others with the impression of increase. If this is the number one key to success, you want to form the habit of leaving others better off, right? So I'm going to run through all 9 of them, Emma, and then maybe comment on each of them. So the number one thing is give others a genuine compliment. When I was in Toronto in September 2018, I was at a training, and Bob often spoke, being through the Thinking into Results program, Emma, he spoke about it being the number one key to success. And he said, Lee, this is the number one key to success. He said, I don't care if it's a lady in the grocery store, I want you to leave her better than you found her. He said, maybe she's got a nice smile. Maybe she greeted you warmly. Maybe she's dressed well, but look for something good about her. And when you're at that checkout, give her a sincere and merited compliment. Anybody can see through flattery or, surface level stuff, because when it's genuine and sincere, the person on the other end of the compliment, they feel it. So don't just give compliments, make sure it's heartfelt and it's sincere. So that's number one. Number 2 on the list here is open a door for someone. Like, that's so simple. When we were kids, right, Emma, we were taught to keep a door open, or to, walk an old lady across the road, or, certain things like that. Let the other person go before you. But I've also, when it comes to opening a door, yes, you might be walking into a building, someone's behind you, you open the door, you let them go in first. That's so kind, right? Or you can literally open a door, or figuratively open a door. So if, you're in the property business and you come across a deal that you maybe can't access, or it might not be the right fit for you, pass that deal on to someone else who you might feel that's a fit for. So you're opening a figurative door for that person. Number 3 on the list here is give
Can I,
someone.
can I just add into that as well? Because I think
Sure.
this is something that's, as society is becoming less and less. And I don't think, it always was a man thing, the man opens the door and all of that. And to me, no, it's lovely if a man wants to open a door for me. I think that's perfectly great. And I'm very, very appreciative of it. But things like, we have our sort of train tube, trains, all of those things. And, normal scenario, some days there's loads of seats and other days there's literally no seats. And I can't bear it when you've got teenage kids or young adults, whether they're male or female, and you've got a much older or pregnant, older man or woman, pregnant lady, somebody who clearly, needs to sit down. And because of this kind of, phone in face scenario, people might not see that. And I think that to me is one of the biggest things that I really kind of will push on. And I know I've really embarrassed my kids before because I'll literally say, come on, kids, we're all going to stand up. And you'll have people going, oh, no. But it's like, no, you really, you need to sit down. I do not need to stand up here. In fact, it'd be good for my step count if I stand up. But yeah, I think it used to be such a male thing. It's lovely for that to continue, but I think it's for everyone to be respectful.
That is a sign of being raised well. I mean, that sort of manners or consideration. It's sad that a lot of the present, and I'm not saying everybody, because I mean, kids come from homes where they taught this sort of thing. If there's an old lady that hops into the train or the bus and you sitting in a seat and there's no other seats, get up and let her sit. I mean, it's just, some people unfortunately weren't taught this. I mean, you know how the paradigm works, right, Emma? The habitual way of operating. You do that because your mom or your dad probably drilled that into your mind as a little girl. Like Emma, the minute you hop onto the tube, if there's an old man or old woman that hops in there and there's no place to sit, you get up. They called you out on it. And now it's just an automatic thing for you. It's something you program into your kids. But not everybody was taught these ideas, and it's so simple. I mean, it's such a simple way to be kind or considerate. Yet not everybody knows it, or maybe everybody's, like you say, caught up in their phone and just right here. And but I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. That would rub me up the wrong way. If it's full and his kids sitting and his old people, and grandmother standing up there and she's got to now catch a 20-minute train ride standing up, and the kids are sitting. That would also rub me up wrongly. In fact, I think I'd actually go over and tell them, hey, come, let this old lady sit. And that's what I do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those pointers, and I think, like anything, we can all walk along blindly. And I think there are certain things in society where we do walk along blindly, and we're kind of, certainly in the UK, you don't sort of speak up. It's kind of like we just keep going. But I think we do need to speak up about such small things like that actually make a really affect the moral compass of entire nations. So for me, I think it's really key. And if kids see that, like, you were saying that, I can't really remember my parents specifically saying anything like that, but there was obviously something that was put into me. And it's just so incredibly important for me and for my family to see it. I mean, it really embarrasses my kids, but, I've got teenage kids. They'll be embarrassed if I breathe. So that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think all of these kind of things make such a difference. And when other people, and they don't even have to see it, but that you get that feeling. So whomever you're working with, you kind of get the feeling of people when you're close in that proximity, even walking through doors together, you kind of get that feeling of how people are. Are they pushy? Are they kind of, are they kind of open? So it's amazing how just these little things can make all the difference.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, Brent Standers, he says here on Instagram, Emma, he says, we are losing the values we were taught. filtering down to our kids. We are losing because we're dealing with a different, new, and young generation. But Brent, I will say this: affect those in front of you, man, or those that you have influence over, your kids. Yeah, it's just a different era. I agree with you. I mean, Emma said that as well. We're in a different era. Can I carry on with the list, Emma? Number 3.
Please do.
Okay, so number 3 on how you can leave others better off for the impression of increase is give someone a gap in traffic. Like, that's such a simple one. It's actually laughable often when I mention that. It's so simple. I don't know about, I think you and I have also spoken about this. I don't know how people drive in the UK, but here in South Africa, if they see you, at a stop street or about to turn out into the road, generally, or a lot of people will speed up, like almost to block you off. It's like, it's not gonna cost you 3 minutes or 5 minutes or even maybe 15 seconds just to allow that person just to go in front of you. It's yeah, that's such a simple one. Number 4 is one that
as well, which I've got to, because there are the odd time, aren't they, where people make mistakes. Like we're all in a hurry, we're doing various things, and there is the odd occasion where somebody may pull out in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, I may have kind of been like, in the car, as you do. But now I like to, if they're wrong, I like to give them a really big smile and kind of go like that. And they'll often go, oh, they're so surprised because they're so expecting, we all know when we've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And to have somebody say, oh, that's okay, don't worry. I mean, obviously we're not talking about somebody crashing into me, but even then you've got to be fair, haven't you? But and that really makes me laugh now, is those people when they're ready to sort of almost be physically hit, aren't they, inside their own car, and you just throw over a smile and they're kind of like, oh. So yeah, I think that's a really great one. And in fact, traffic is I still have it in my head that I only let out one person though. But I'm working on
it. Number 4 you mentioned earlier, and something that that's an automatic one for you now, is smile with a stranger. Like, just smile. I mean, it costs you nothing, and we have those days where we don't want to, right, Emma? But I think just be conscious about it, or mindful that a smile is probably the easiest thing we can give away, and probably the one thing that makes you more beautiful than all the makeup that you're going to put on your face, right? It's such a simple thing.
But actually, I think that was one of the things that you really said earlier that has been one of the things that's made such a big difference, is when you don't feel like it. So there are many times when, I think about, a few things that have happened this year. I've had a few sort of losses, and, really don't feel like smiling. Just, want to be in your little pity pot world. And I just can't help now but making that effort. It just would feel so bad if I walked past somebody and I didn't smile at them. So in turn, as much as it seems like such a selfless act, it is not at all selfless. It's totally selfish too, because it in turn makes you see things totally differently, and making that effort from like upside to full on proper smile, it completely changes our mental thought, our physiology, all of those things. So as much as initially it was a bit of a, that's a nice thing to do, I'm going to do that, inherently it's completely turned around in myself as well. And I really noticed that, because it's actually the days that I really don't feel like smiling that are the most rewarding days.
When you probably started working on incorporating the impression of increase into your personality, smiling maybe wasn't a natural thing for you. But what is a habit? A habit is something you do without thinking, right? So like you do it 1 day, 2 days, 7 days, 14 days, 20 days. You do it for a couple of months. Eventually, that becomes your natural default. Instead of being miserable and always having a frown on your face, um, you know, generally you have a smile on your face. But like you say, you've also realized that even on those down days, what do they say? Act a specific way and you feel it, because not only does feeling cause actions, but actions also in turn cause feeling. So even if you're not feeling good, if you smiling and you acting happy and you're doing it over and over, even in your low moments, you'll start feeling good eventually. So I mean, I think that really makes sense of what you've just explained there, Emma. Feelings cause action. Yes, we act based on emotion, on feeling, but also actions cause feelings. Actions cause feelings. Um, Number 5 is one that I think we all taught, is give money away. I think that's one of the quickest ways for us to shift our beliefs around money. Um, is give money away. And we know, whatever religion you subscribe to, we all know you got to sow, right? You got to tithe, you got to put it out first. You got to put that seed in the ground before you expect it to come back to you. Number 6, Emma, is acknowledge someone's effort. So the way for you to leave others better off, acknowledge their effort. If you see someone doing a good job, or you see somebody really, giving a proper effort into what they're doing, acknowledge their effort. Say, I thought you done that so well, or that was so um, I'm just really impressed watching you do that. I mean, you're just so focused, and I appreciate you, giving your full attention to what you just done. And you could even be having this conversation with one of your employees or one of your kids. I really love how you done that. Look at what you've just created here. But really acknowledging their effort.
Yeah,
Number
for me, that's a huge one. So I've got an incredible virtual assistant who works in the Philippines, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of doing personality testing, and one of her things is words. So I try and be quite flowery in my response to the things that she does, but I really make a huge effort as regularly as possible to say, and it's genuinely heartfelt, you literally help me so much. You are the backbone of everything. I can't express enough how much I appreciate it. And yeah, her just sort of lovely responses, are often things like, wow, you don't know how much that means to me. I really appreciate you saying that. And it is so genuine, but I would have never have done it like I do now had I not gone through this kind of, I don't like to call it training because it sounds a bit like it's got something behind it, but I genuinely wouldn't have done. But it's really, and equally, it kind of surprises me. It kind of gives me a heart flutter when she responds so positively to that. But she really genuinely is, and I think it also shows, like, over the weekend, somebody said, "Wow, your VA, she's just amazing." And I'm like, yeah, everyone needs a Micah in your life. She really is incredible. And I think that comes across. She takes such pride in what she does. And does she sometimes do things wrong? Absolutely. But is it always her fault? No, I don't think so. I think it's usually my communication. When I look back at things, I think, oh, you know what? I just didn't communicate. I thought I communicated in a certain way, but when I look back on it, but I just, I really so appreciate her, and I'm so
And
pleased that I can share that with her.
and have you noticed how much more she does or tries after you compliment her like that?
I mean, you work a bit with her just in the organization of this. I mean, she goes over and above. I mean, the things that she does are so traumatic. I'm so fortunate to have her, and it really is amazing what she does. I couldn't do. what I do now. I mean, I joke about it, but I literally couldn't do it. I mean, she really, she helps so much. And you can see genuinely, can't you, with the emails that you receive? I mean,
Yeah.
she literally goes over and above.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 7 is point out how kind someone is. So, like, if you see that kid getting up and giving their seat to that old lady, point out, say, that's really kind of you, my boy. That is really kind. Or it's like so often we tuned into what people are doing wrong. It's like we looking at or harvesting the bad. We're looking at identifying the things that people are not doing or the things they're doing wrong. Why not start looking for what people are doing well and point out how kind they are. Number 8 is ask people that you interact with meaningful questions. Now, we spoke about this a bit earlier, but I'll go through it again just because we've got a list of 9 here. But when you go to that networking event or you walk into that letting agent's office, make sure you've got some really good questions. When you sit down and have a conversation with them, get to know them, like ask them meaningful questions. And I think the most important part, when you ask those questions, listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Most people are listening to respond. They're listening to expand their ego. I mean, we all get caught up in it from time to time. But listen to understand. You hear with your ears, but you listen with your emotions, right? So don't just hear to reply or expand your ego. Really listen to understand, and that is an emotional thing. And yeah, it's actually an art. It's something that it's so powerful. Like really, if you've ever spent any time with somebody who listens deeply, trust me, you'll know the difference. I've had conversations, a coffee meeting with people in the past. First time I meet them, half an hour into the conversation, and the person's literally bawling their eyes out. And I asked him, do you mind me asking why are you crying? And then this person would say to me, I've never been listened to like that. Like no one's ever listened to me like that. And that's actually sad that we don't do that for each other, because I mean, everybody just wants to be seen, right? It's a universal need.
Definitely. And there is a lot of, and I've definitely been a big thing in the past where you're literally, aren't you? You're just waiting for the other person to finish so you can talk. And it's kind of like you have to kind of, rein it back, really, really listen. And actually, these kind of interviews have been, really helpful for me. So again, I love giving, but equally I get a lot from them myself, because I don't want to come in with, I don't like the kind of interviews where it's like, right, these are the 10 questions that I'm going to ask you, and then we'll just do it. I like to kind of come in, listen to what people have said, and then kind of delve into that. But it can take a bit of really working through, and then I have to write it down because then I'll forget and something else comes up. So yeah, no, I really love that sort of going out of your way to not only listen, but to take it to another level. It's not just waiting to reply, it's kind of listening and taking that much further. So yeah, I love that one.
And a clear sign of that is like people double up on questions. So they'll ask you another 1 or 2 questions beyond the initial question to go a bit deeper, and that really shows you they're interested, and then obviously you also listen with your eyes. You want to focus, put all of your attention on them, watch their micro movements, watch the body language, because when they maybe say something that might not be true, you'll pick it up if all of your attention or focus is on them. I see Granville Edwards says that a great way to inspire someone is to reach further and climb higher is to celebrate the value that they do. Spot on, Granville. So that's obviously, we spoke about acknowledging someone's effort. And Brent says on Instagram here, Emma, sometimes we need a genuine reminder to always respond positively to those around us. We just get caught up. Self reflection on this point. So we do need a genuine reminder. But the thing is, Emma and I were talking earlier that a habit is something you do automatically, right? So initially, it might be some work to smile automatically every day, or to look for the good, or to all of these 9 things we're going through. It might be initially a very conscious thing to do these things, but if you do it day after day after day, you're going to get to a point where it's going to become a habit, where it's just something you do automatically, and then we don't necessarily need these reminders. And then the last one, Emma, give of your time in service. So easy. That one's an easy one. I'm not saying, give 50% of your time away in pro bono work, but, maybe give 10% away, or now and again, do something kind, or do some community work, or not that I've ever done that, but I mean, just give of your time in service. I do a lot of free presentations. I try and serve and help where I can.
And that's a big thing that enabled me to look at life in a different way, and especially in a property way, because it can be quite challenging when you're working at home, or you're not necessarily interacting or seeing many people. But you used to say to me, or you still do, how many people have you affected today? How many people have you helped? How many people? And that made me really consider my business in a different way. I mean, literally, how can I get in front of more people more often, especially when I'm sat at home on my own, occasionally, going and visiting a house with one estate agent, so to speak. So that enabled me to start thinking very differently. And that's why, I started doing things like this, to be able to, to move on. I'm not saying I'm getting out to millions of people, because I'm not at that stage yet. But, it really has opened me up to far more things, which has been really, really powerful. Sorry, yeah.
I think maybe just one, for somebody who didn't catch what Emma just said, I think a good question, if you've been listening to all of these 9 ways to leave others better off with the impression of increase, a good question to ask yourself at the end of every day is, how many people did I leave with increase today? Or how many people did I serve today? So maybe it's that one letting agent who you gave 15 minutes of your focused attention to, like you really listen to understand. You can put a 1 there. Maybe you've done a presentation like this, Emma, and there were, or a webinar presentation, and there were 35 people online. You've left 35 people with increase, but you can add it up. And I mean, that's such a good look at how many people you serve at the end of the day. Most people are looking at the results, or they're looking at what they get. Stay focused on how much you put in out, how many people you helping, how many people you serving.
Wow, that's a really beautiful way of bringing us to the end, because I'm seeing that our time is over. So Lee, please do share how people can find you. I think you've got a webinar coming up. I know that we will be sharing that under the live notes. And as I say, for anyone who is listening then and who isn't listening now, wants to listen on replay, obviously each of us in our own social media, but YouTube is usually the easiest place to find it.
So if anyone like to connect with me, I suggest LinkedIn. So name and surname is right here, Lee Roebeck. Just drop me a connection request on LinkedIn. And then there's an upcoming webinar on the 25th of July this month. called Face Your Fears and Achieve Any Goal. And it's one that I've done a number of times before, and it's really on the science of goal achievement and also the process, the psychological process of fear when it comes to goal achieving. So if you're sitting out there, you've got a big property goal, or you're going after something really significant, and there's some fear involved, I'd suggest that you come and join us. It's really going to be a powerful 1 hour together. And we'll really get into ideas that will help you get more comfortable with the fear when you're going after that big goal. So that's coming up on the 25th, and what we'll do, Emma and I will do, we'll drop the link to register across all platforms in the comments or in the chat below this video.
Amazing. Well, yet again, Lee, thank you. Really, I'm very inspired as always. I've written lots of notes, and a few with big circles around, which means I need to take action on them. And one of those is I really liked pointing out how kind somebody's been, and that's not in my repertoire, so I'm going to look to add that in. So appreciate that. So yes, thank you so much, everybody. So that was the 25th of July. If you want to join Lee again, I usually jump on these calls as well because they're just so rewarding. So thank you so much, guys. And yeah, see you again soon, Lee.